Now, last week we did the message for young women. This week I wanted to go ahead and balance it out a little bit, and we're going to look at the message for young men. We're going to be doing that this week on episode number 218 of The Relaxed Male. This is The Relaxed Male, a show that comes to you each week helping men to remove the nice guy from their life so they can actually live their life on their terms. Join the host, certified coach Brian Goodwin, as he helps men step out of their heads and become free from the thoughts that bind them. Hey man, hello and welcome to The Relaxed Male. I'm your host Brian, and I'm a certified men's coach who assists men who are just neck deep in the suffering of their life. Men who are going through a divorce, men who are going through just their day-to-day struggles. Maybe they have a job loss. Maybe they've had some other catastrophic event happen in their lives. How do they get out of it? How do they keep their head held high so that they can actually live their life on purpose? Well, that's what we talk about. Each episode, we look at what it takes to change how you look at life so that you are actually better, stronger, more successful on the other side without playing the victim. And so this week, that's what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to help men, young men from, who are just entering dating age to on upwards. Maybe you're 50 years old and you're now finding yourself back in the dating pool and you're trying to figure out what it is you're to do. This is a message for all men. I say for young men because it's the stuff that younger men definitely need to see and hear and understand than us older graybeard guys. But at the same time, never hurts for any man to hear this. So, but before we jump in there, I want to say thank you again for everyone who is listening. Y'all are just helping me out tremendously with the helping bring the podcast up and up and to the right. So it is great to see that we're getting more people who are listening and more people who are actually even interacting. And so thank you so much for that. If you are interested on keep getting this podcast to brought to you every single week, just go to the podcast player of your choice and hit subscribe or follow. And about every Thursday, you'll have a new episode pop into your inbox and you'll be red eye to listen. So, all right, now let's get started. Let's jump into this because men, we have our own sets of challenges, own sets of problems. Whether the world and society wants to admit it or not, men are different from women, not just physically, but how we look at stuff, what our mental aspects of a circumstance are. We're two completely different creatures of the same race, or not even the same race, the same species. So the messages that I have for girls is a completely different one than what I have for you young men. And this is something that men need to do and continue to do and always be pushing forward on. Now you're going to hear me talk about things that are all going to be related to start off with being related to all the four pillars of a relaxed male: the man's mind, body, soul, and community. And you'll quickly realize what those are as you are listening. And then from there, I just kind of want to break it down as to what men kind of need to look out for, because so many times we get ourselves wrapped up in our marriage portion. When it comes to being married, comes to handling our love life, we will allow ourselves to get caught up in some of the worst circumstances and we'll cause ourselves a lot of, not harm, but a lot of extra stress and a lot of extra suffering because we aren't being intentional with what we're dating with. We go with what feels good at the moment. And I want to help see if I can get you to change some of that. So let's go ahead and let's jump in. So guys, young men listening to my voice right now, the world at this moment doesn't have a lot of faith in us. And that's because our world goes in a cycle. Soft men create bad times. Bad times create hard men. Hard men create good times. Good times create soft men. Soft men, again, create hard times. And we're kind of in the area where I think we're starting to go from a bad time into a good time. It seems like a lot of people are starting to wake up to the weird shenanigans that a lot of non-intentional thought people are doing. But one of the problems that's come up is that for the past 10 or so years, it's all been about how horrible men are. You know, we've had terms of like toxic masculinity thrown around, and these are all issues that, one, actually don't exist. What they're calling toxic masculinity is actually the lack of masculinity in a man's life. And yes, you can have no masculinity. And that's where a lot of the problem comes into play, because all of a sudden you don't know how a man's supposed to act. So how do you hold yourself in high regard, be masculine, be productive, be the highest quality man possible for the women out there? Because that's what women want. They want high quality men. Same as men, we want our high quality women. So what is it that you need to do to make sure that you are high enough quality so that the right woman for you shows interest in you? Because you want a woman who is beautiful, but also who is adventurous and active and is going to cheer you on and wants you to cheer her on. And y'all both work together, because when you become married, y'all are both going to be back to back taking on the world as a single unit. So how do we do this? Well, first off is from the time when the time you're starting to date and all that, one of the big things is you never want to stop learning. You get out of high school, don't stop learning. When you get out of college, if you go to college, even if you don't stop learning. Never stop learning. Read books, not just fiction, but start reading a lot of nonfiction, whether it's biographies, history books, whatever. Start reading nonfiction books, because all of man's knowledge can be found in a book. So read. And, reading, it's good to have the physical book in your hand as you read. And I know a lot of people are going, oh, well, I can't read. I get tired after 2 pages. Well, you can change that. So read, listen to audiobooks, read physical books, read. You'll gain more knowledge. You'll gain more insight into what the world is and where the world's going, doing that than almost anything else. Another thing to do is to listen to podcasts, but not just true crime podcasts and fan podcasts on television shows. Yeah, those are fun to listen to, but listen to podcasts that will help you grow. Podcasts like this one. All right. Thank you, by the way, if you are listening. Glad you're listening to this episode, and I'd like to encourage you to continue listening, because I try to give you as much value and as much insight and as much knowledge as I possibly can, so that you are a noble, strong man for the world. Something else you want to do is try new things. Get out there, experiment. Now, I don't necessarily mean experiment with drugs and things like that. No, but I mean, get out there. Try things. Have you ever wondered what it's like to do some blacksmithing? Then try it. There's ways to be able to try it on a low-cost manner. You don't have to go off and buy a kiln and buy a furnace and crucibles and all the iron and all that. Maybe you just have to buy some iron, or even just find some scrap iron, melt it down, and figure out what it takes to work with iron. And maybe it's something you like. Maybe it's something you don't like. Maybe you start finding the science of metalworking to be fascinating to you and challenging, and you like it a lot. If that's the case, great, awesome. There's something in there that you like. But try new things. Don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid of the fact that you may end up investing $1,000 into something just for you to turn around and go, oh, dude, this is not cool. Chalk it up to a learning experience and go on. Keep trying new things. Follow your curiosity. What ignites your curiosity factor? What ignites that little burning flame within your belly? that's a clue as to what it is you want to learn, you need to learn. And so never stop learning. Keep incorporating new things. I am learning sales right now, and some of that is not gets kind of dry. Honestly, it's just one of those where you're like, oh, really? Okay. And we have to just kind of power through it. And I'm going to have to listen to it a couple times to get a lot of the stuff to sink in. But I'm learning sales. Another thing is get out and enjoy the fresh air. Start walking around, enjoy the park. You're going to find more attractive people outdoors than you will indoors. If you're wanting somebody who is active, it's good to go to where the active people are. Now, you may find someone who's a health nut, and that's okay. If you're not a health nut, it may be that you're needing to become a bit more of a health nut. But either way, get outside, enjoy the fresh air. Yes, you're going to hear people on the news their whole job is to try to make sure you're as scared and knocked back on your heels as possible. And they're going to tell you that the world is we're fixing to have flaming icebergs, and that we've only got 12 years till the earth stops existing. It's always 12 years. We always have, 12 years till. I've been hearing the 12 years till for the past 30, 40 years. There for a while it was, we're going to have, we can't hold any more people. And this is back when we were like at 7 billion people, 6 billion people. And now we're at 8. So it's like, all right, yeah. So you're telling me that we can't accept it can't hold anymore, except that we can hold more. In fact, we could take everybody in the population, shrink it down to like the density of, I think, like Singapore, and live in like the area of Texas and Oklahoma, and no one else would be in the rest of the areas. So there's plenty of room, no matter what everybody likes. The doomsayers want to say, we're not going to die of a horrible death anytime in the near future. So get outside. The air is actually cleaner now than it has ever been. So go outside, go enjoy, get some fresh air, get some fresh oxygen circulating into your body as you go walk around, walk in a park, go, do stuff, get that heart rate rolling. You're going to feel better about yourself as you tire yourself out. Yeah, it sucks while you're doing it. I'll give you that. I agree with you there. I'm not a big fan of physical exertion, except for the fact that I kind of like the feeling after I've exerted myself physically. So you have to find the pleasure in your pain. All right. That's one of the keys to being able to have a good life is find the pleasures in the pain. Go on a quest to find your purpose also. When you find your purpose, hold on to that purpose. When you know what you're called to do, hold on to that. If it keeps lighting you up, you know that you're in the right area. And along with that, keep doing something scary. I think Eleanor Roosevelt said, do one thing each day that scares you. Do something that's just causes you to learn, that you have a good chance of failing at. And that's, it causes a bit of uncertainty in you, because when you finish doing it, you actually find that you are a lot more alive. Don't shy away from the discomfort. The discomfort is a good thing in your life, because on the other side of that discomfort is a lot of pleasure. And our life, as I've mentioned before, is 50-50. Half the time it's pain, half the time it's pleasure. So we have to do the discomfort to get to the pleasure. Another thing you want to do is make sure that you find a group of noble men to hang out with. And it's not just your buddy from high school who's still living in your hometown, not doing much, even going out and hanging out with the high schoolers, even though he's 28. No, no, that's not really the best guy to be hanging out with. Find a group of guys who are on the same trajectory as you are, that you want to be on. So maybe you want to become a successful businessman, a successful entrepreneur, something along those lines. then find other guys who want to be successful entrepreneurs also and start hanging out with them. Where do you find them? Well, there's a lot of places you could find them. It might be over at a chamber of commerce after hours. There's a lot of different places that you can go, and you can find men who are that are in the same path that you want to go on. Another place that a lot of guys seem to avoid, but is such a rich resource that I recommend people need to tap into, is a good church. I don't agree with performance-based religions. It's only a performance-based religion if you choose it to be a performance-based religion. It could be that it's the fellowship that you actually are needing, and that's the benefit that you get from it. Not to mention you get a good message of hope from God thanks to the pastor. There's a lot of advantages if you actually start hanging out with men. Now, before we jump into the dating part, there is one little section that I do want to jump into, because this is a dangerous pit us guys fall into rather easily. And that is, porn is not your friend. All right. Now, guys, a lot of guys go, whatever. It's like, well, and believe me, I say, believe me, that I'm in that same boat. Okay. I used to like watching porn. Saturday night was my porn watching night. I'd set aside an hour, 2 hours of porn watching before and call it a night. But it does do stuff to your mind. And I used the whole excuse of, well, my wife doesn't really care for sex anyhow. So I'm just taking care of myself so I don't have to bug my wife. That's a victim aligned type of thought. Porn puts you into the victim mindset. It keeps you from connecting with your wife, connecting with her in a way so that you and her are sexually active with each other. Yeah. For a while, you may have been at it for doing porn for quite a while, and you just have realized, oh, wait a minute, we don't have sex except for maybe 4 times a year. And that's the path that I was in. I was kind of starting to market. I was like, going, when's the last time we ended up doing it? And, I'd look, it'd be like 3-4 months ago. And then I'd look again, and it's 3-4 months after that, and 3-4 months after that. And that is because, one, I wasn't asking for it. I wasn't making any type of move to let her know that I was interested in it. And sex for girls, especially after they're married, can be kind of a pain in the butt, because, they have to go off and get completely undressed and then, and it's kind of a pain. And then once they're done, they got to clean up the mess that we've left behind. And then we go off and get redressed again just to, go to bed. It's as guys, we're just kind of like, all right, we're done. All right, put our clothes back on, roll over, fall asleep. While, there's a lot more to it for girls. So yeah, we have to give them a reason as to why. We have to have that. And that reason is we have to provide a connection for our spouses, for our wives, for our girlfriends, whatever it is that we end up having. We have to have that connection. We have to give them a reason as to why they want to be naked. And it's not necessarily just so that we can get our rocks off, because sex itself is a very service-based exchange. It's not about who can get their rocks off first, though sometimes it ends up being that way. But a lot of times when it comes to sex, it is about the fact that us guys, we've got, we find our pleasure in the fact that we can make our girls' toes curl. All right. That's the fun. That's the goal that we want. Can we get her to reach her climax once, twice, maybe 3 times? Can we make her so weak in the knees that it's tough for her to walk at the end? That's what we want. That's what we find as men. That's where the pride is. Seeing if we can soak her down with our essence, is not the goal. If she wants to be soaked in your essence, okay, fine. That's good. All right. So she wants that. Most women, though, I will let you know, don't. And the only reason why you think that they do is thanks to that porn. Those girls are getting paid a lot of money to be catchers. All right. Most girls can't stand the taste, can't stand the texture. It is what it is. And okay. Thankfully, it's actually fairly easy to clean up. So don't rely on porn. Stay away from porn. If you can keep from flogging the dolphin while you're at it, that would help you out even more, because you're storing. It's not just that you're holding back the seminal forces or anything, but when you deny yourself that easy release, you start paying attention, and you could start actually noticing when girls are flirting with you. And it's not going to be, 3 days after the last time you burped the gherkin. You actually, it may be a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months down the road, depending on how badly, because so many of the young men these days are actually suffering from porn-induced erectile dysfunction. I mean, come on, man. That's when I was, in the 20s, I walked around with permaboner. All right. All the wind would have to do was just suggest that it was going to blow, and I was there. So guys, if you're having a hard time getting it up when a girl actually is showing interest in you, that's a problem of where you have porn. You're suffering. You've watched too much dad burn porn. Lay off the porn. Lay off the easy stuff. I know it's scary to have to ask permission from your wife to go out, put yourself out there to be shot down because she's got a headache yet again for the 17th week in a row. It is frustrating. I spent a good deal of my late 30s, early 40s thinking that, maybe there was something wrong with me, that I wanted to have sex as much as I did. The problem? No, it wasn't a problem. The problem was that I was looking at it in a completely different, wrong manner. I wasn't trying to ask the wife. I wasn't doing the ask. I was avoiding the rejection that I possibly could get. So know that going into dating, and that's where we're going to jump into now, is dating. And there's a lot of stuff about dating that you want to know. When it comes to dating, you want to know what type of girl you want in your life. I mean, if you're just bouncing around, going from party to party to party to party, and you're just looking at all the hot chicks, and you think, oh yeah, that's a good, basing everything on looks, I can guarantee you're going to pick the wrong one. And in all reality, you don't want the super hot chick anyhow, because they are stupid high maintenance women. They got to have the best of this, that, and these and those. And if you're a guy who just kind of is like, I really just want a girl who likes to be a girl and enjoys being the girl of the girls, and not the example of what you have to do for beauty. You want a woman who knows how to apply the makeup and can be dressed to the nines when she wants to, but at the same time has this natural beauty that if she doesn't wear makeup, that's fine. You're still going, looking good in the morning. When you go out and you date for women, and you're starting to go out and date for the purpose of finding someone that you're wanting to marry. You will hear a lot of people, you need to go out and play the field a bit. No, actually, and if you can, avoid having sex. I would, during that time while you're dating a woman. I can hear a lot of you guys going, what? Especially when you start hearing that I'm saying, when you start dating, it's going to be a 2-year cycle for you to finally get to have some nookie. And I can hear a lot of you young men going, oh my God, I can't live that long. Well, trust me, you can. You can live that long. You're okay if you live that long. And you will thank me if you can find a girl who is willing to wait that long for you too. And it's not that you're going to find a girl who doesn't like sex. You're not going to find a girl who is, asexual or whatever. You're going to still find a girl who wants to have sex with you, who likes to have sex, who is a very sexually active, very sexually vibrant woman. But if you are basing your relationship on sex, it's going to fail. And sadly, so many people in today's society, that's what they base their relationship on. Oh, well, we happen to rock each other's socks off every once or twice a week. Well, good for you. But what happens whenever the sex starts slowing up? That's where problems start coming in. So don't rush when you're dating with a purpose, and that purpose being marriage. Don't rush, because it's going to take a good year to get to know her before you even I recommend before you even throw out an engagement ring. It might even be 2 years, but you want to get to know, you start asking questions, getting to know what they're interested in and all that. You want to find out all these little tidbit questions and find the details. And then once you get engaged, you want to get even more details and get more concrete information. And I actually recommend you go to couples counseling, for a year while you're going through your engagement, so that you can find out what is it that you expect. Who is it that is who's going to pay the bills? Is someone going to stay home and raise the kids, or are you going to hire a third party person who has no care in the world for your kids to watch your kids? I.e., are you going to do daycare, or is somebody going to stay home? What does that look like? And don't buy the BS that, oh, well, we can't afford it. If you actually physically cannot afford it, then find a different place to live. Yeah, New York may be nice, but $4,000 for an 86 foot by 86 foot room is not living. All right. You're paying stupid amounts of money means that too many people are trying to get into someplace, so you can find a place outside of that area that's cheaper. 2 hours outside of New York, I bet you could find houses that are at least, $1,000 a month. I still think that's really expensive, but at the same time, that's $1,000 a month. All right. It's not a heck of a lot cheaper than that. You can find a way. Y'all can work through that. If you want her to stay home, and she wants to stay home, but she doesn't see how that's possible, then find a way that's possible. Find the solution. You're going to struggle. Be okay with the struggle. All right. There's nothing wrong with struggling, but find out what each of you are going to bring to the table. Which of y'all is going to stay with the kiddo, who's going to work, who's paying the bills, who's responsible for this, who's responsible for that. What is it? How much sex do you expect to have each week? So that if you have more than that, all right, great. Thumbs up. You had higher than average, but at the same time, you can be okay. And the other person knows that down 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the road, every Saturday night comes along, you're still kind of going to be expecting for people's clothes to fall off. And it sounds weird to be planning it out like that, but it works. Okay. Because for guys, sex isn't just, like I said, not about getting our rocks off. It is about our ability to, we take sex as meaning that our wife, our girlfriend, our wife cares for us, likes us. They are in love with us. We take that as a physical touch. That's why most men's love language has physical touch in there. We want to be shown that our spouse cares for us. We like the sex part of it, and we like the association allows us to be able to be in a different frame of mind. So if we're not getting that amount of sex, we start having our own means of crazy thoughts. But when you're looking for a girl to marry, make sure that you do not go off and rescue a damsel in distress. That's because in the end, what you wind up with is a distressed damsel. You don't want a woman you're always having to run around and try to rescue. You want a woman who can take care of things herself and likes being able to take care of things herself, but at the same time, likes it and loves it when you help her do those things. Understand what respect is also, so that you know that her means of displaying love isn't being respectful to you. You know that she actually respects you. What are your values? What are her values? Are y'all's values, compatible? If she doesn't get her way, is she one of those that starts throwing stuff around? Is she stomping around, using the F word as a noun, verb, and adjective? Or when she gets mad, are you able to talk with her? Are you that way? Are you willing to change? Because when one of y'all just blows up and starts stomping around, punching holes in freaking walls and stuff, you're the problem. If she's throwing the temper tantrum, but you are more of a calm dude, you probably want to find somebody who's a little more calm. Does she have daddy issues? If so, probably not a good thing for you to have, because she's going to you're going to become the daddy in her life. And if she has problems with dads doing something that might be construed as authoritarian or patriarchal, then probably not the chick for you. Does she love talking about her exes? What is she saying about her exes? Is she sharing secrets about what those exes did? Know that if she's willing to share secrets about other people, she's talking about you behind your back also. How does she treat her parents in general? Is she respectful? Is she nice, or does she disrespectful? Is she very combative with her parents? That's another big red flag. When something goes wrong, is she taking responsibility for her part of the scenario? Or is she trying to shove the responsibility off on other people? That's another good size red flag you want to look out for. How quickly did it take for her to start saying she loves you? Third date, and she's going, well, I love you. Okay. Thank you for the nice word, but either A, you don't understand what love is, or B, you're love bombing, or C, you're trying to manipulate me for something else. And it's not necessarily a reason to run, but if she jumps in and instantly starts saying, I love you, or if you're one who jumps in and instantly starts saying, I love you, step back. Do the 30-day challenge. Don't know what 30-day challenge is? That is no physical contact with each other for 30 days. No kissing, no hugging, no holding hands, no other things that are physical touch. Y'all have to, if you can do that for 30 days and still hold the relationship together, y'all are doing pretty good. Y'all can start adding stuff back in there. It's the physical touch. It's the sexual love 30-day challenge. Do your family and friends like her? That's a big one. That's a big giveaway that we often want to ignore. And she will work very hard to make sure that she's becomes that wedge between you and your friends and your family, especially if they don't like her. If your family and friends don't like her, there's something you're not seeing. And there's a big truth in there that you really got to step back and you got to pay attention to. Knew a guy who had a girlfriend who was she was flat out annoying. Everything was a disaster. It was all about the drama for her. And I mean, his friends kept telling this dude, it's like, man, you have just got to get rid of her. I mean, he was losing friends left and right because his friends couldn't stand her. Family sure as heck couldn't stand her. And it took a while for him to finally catch the fact that, oh, wait a minute, this is probably, she is not the chick for me. Yeah. She's wild in bed. She's fun to get my rocks off on, but yeah, no, it's not a good thing. And he found out really quick because as soon as he left her, she went for one of his best friends and sunk her hooks into him. Does she go through her life with double standards? You can't talk to people of the opposite sex, but she can, Those are double standards. Things that you can't do, but she can, or things she won't, things that she can do. And you're, if you do, you're a terrible, horrible person. Now that's a big double flag. It's a double red flag. So this kind of goes with the friends and family also, but Is she trying to separate you from your family? Is she talking about how horrible your parents are? That's a good sign. Is she trying to separate you from your masculine friends? Do not let that happen. Because one of the things a lot of women do, they don't realize it, but they want to test you to see how committed are you to staying the man that they fell in love with. So they're going to start trying to tempt you with changing your topic of interest, getting you to step away and not hang out with your guy friends nearly as much. Those are all things you don't want to have happen. Your quest for your purpose. Well, you're spending so much time away from me, baby. I want you to be here with me. No, stick to your purpose. Keep that. If you're wanting to have the life that you want to live and have her come along with you, then you have to keep it up. She's not going to have your view. All right. She's not going to have your vision of the future because, well, as Steve Harvey has said, God didn't give her your vision. He gave you your vision. You have to show her why your vision is so grand. So she's going to try to separate you from your male friends and from your family. Don't let those things happen. If she becomes very insistent and stuff, then this may end up being a case of where I love you, but we can't. There's too many problems here. We can't be doing this. Again, is she running around talking about other people's secrets and stuff? If so, then she's talking about your stuff too. She's talking about your business behind your back. Is she identifying herself as a mental health issue? Does she actually have mental health issues, or is she just wanting to identify as having a mental health issue? And you can tell the difference. And either one of them, you actually want to avoid. And I understand a lot of mental health advocates out there are probably just now screaming at me going, they're so mean. You're so hard. No, I'm not mean. Doesn't do you any good to bring children into a house with a woman who has bipolar. All right. Does you no good to bring children into the house if the woman actually has narcissistic tendencies. All right. It does you or your children no good if you have a wife who suffers from any type of depression. If she has anxiety disorder, she doesn't want to do anything. She wants to sit in her bedroom and turn into a vegetable because it's easier to do that. She doesn't want to do the hard things because she's got a mental health problem. That is a big red flag. If you find out she's on medication for some type of mental health problem, I love you, baby, but we're not doing this no more. Get your mental health problem fixed and we'll talk. Well, I can't. It's not something that you just turn off. Okay. Then you know that she's in it for the long haul. So run. Do not look back. Run. And is her life always in a panic mode? Does she need you to be rescuing her at all times of the day? Does she need her emotions, her feelings validated every 15 minutes of the day? Again, you might want to think that, I can get her fixed. I can get her on a stable ground. No, you can't, man. You can't. It's not worth your time. It's not worth any of that at all. Not worth because she's going to be a boundary violator time and time and time again. Because, oh my God, I ran out of gas and I'm 80 miles away. Well, why'd you run out of gas? Well, I thought I could make it home. No, you knew what was in the gas tank. You need to start looking at the gas tank, start paying attention, start taking responsibility for your own actions. When they're in panic mode, they're not going to take responsibility. It's somebody else's fault. So that points back up to how much responsibility is that girl taking? Now, those are some major red flags that you want to keep an eye out on. And so when you go out and you're dating and you're seeing women, and if they're easy to jump in sack with, guess what? You're not the first guy that they boinked. And so you're probably the fourth or fifth or sixth guy who has blessed her glory hole. All right. So just think, kind of like what we said back in the late 80s. You're not just sleeping with her. You're sleeping with everybody that she slept with. Add that little thought to your mind when you're sitting there fixing to have a good time with her. If you think you absolutely must have good relations, then at least put a darn sock on the thing. So, guys, there you go. That is the message that I have for the men. Because, guys, young men are needing to know what this information is. They need to be told this. They need to see that what are some standards that they need to have. Know what their core values are. Know what standards they want to have in a woman. What does a woman look like, act like, everything. Yeah, have fun with the physical dimensions. Got big boobs and a nice tight butt. Long legs that go up to her chin. Whatever. It is completely up to you. Physical attributes you could spec out, but it's not always about the physical attributes. I always thought I wanted a girl with that was my height and big boobed and all that too. Didn't work out that way. It got big boobs, but she's a little shorter than me, and that's good. You don't want a woman whose punching level is right at your crotch, because she'll keep you on your toes. So it's okay if you don't find the exact gal, but know what your standards are. Because when you see something that is completely off and you hit those red flags aren't red. Maybe they'll change. No, the red flags, stay away from them. And and you're going to be finding that there's a lot of women who are hard to find that's going to be called a good woman, because so many women these days have been told you need to run around and you need to try to get, 130 men to sleep with 130 different men. And you need all these other things. And no, that's the worst thing that a woman could do, because every time she sleeps with a guy, she lessens her value. And no, it may not be fair that men can still maintain their value and sleep with other women, though at the same time, I think that's not entirely true. But men, we bring security to the table. We typically bring prosperity, but nowadays a lot of women actually make more than men because of school standards, and that, men just don't really care to go to college anymore, which is rightful, because who wants to go to go to a school where they're told that they're the problem with society? No, the people telling you that the problem with society is the problem with society. I will point a finger at them, but it's not half the population of the world that's at fault. So guys, life is great. Life is one of those things that can become fantabulous, but you have to do it with intentionality. You can have a wonderful dating life and a wonderful marriage if you do it all intentionally. And that's what I'm getting down to. If you want to learn and want to have assistance on actually living an intentional life, living a life where you are having a wonderful time, you are achieving your goals, you're reaching those lofty heights that you want to reach, and have a beauty that's standing beside you, looking in awe as you bring and manifest the wonders that you bring about. Then come on over, come to have a talk with me, and let's see what we can find. Let's see if we are compatible. Are you really wanting to have a clear goal, or are you just kind of hoping that you have a clear goal? What does a clear goal look like? How do you find the girl of your dreams? When it comes to relationships, all of these are about relationships. We can help you get those relationships so that you can actually relax and not worry so darn much about what the relationship is, what it's meaning to other people, because it doesn't matter what it matters to other people. What does it matter to you? So guys, with that, I want to say thank you very much for listening. If you like this show, share it out, share it with your friends, share it out with your buddies, share it on the Facebook and Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, wherever it is that you like to reside, where you have a group of men that you talk to. Share this out with them and go, hey, young men really need to listen to this. Hear what he has to say, and take that information and and apply it. It does you no good to pick up information and just passively learn it. You need to actively learn it. Learn apply what you've heard and see how it works in your world. Because that's the only way you're going to know whether you are doing good, doing bad, or doing indifferent. So guys, with that, I want to say thank you very much for listening. Y'all take care. Almost forgot. If you are wanting to get coached for a ridiculous low price right now, I am running a coaching special where you can get 6 months of coaching for $300. We are at the $300 mark. And I've got it set for, there's only going to be 5 guys who are going to get this for $300. If you want to have clarity in your life, you want to change how your world looks, and you want to be able to walk through life in a more confident manner, $300, 6 months. We'll get to working on the goals, on the objectives that you have, and we'll change your world. We'll change how you look at the world, change how you think of what the world is telling you, and start looking at life with more intentionality. And if you're interested in that, just shoot me an email with go to relaxedmail.com/coaching offer. All right. I had to look that one up. I couldn't remember. It didn't sound right. So, but anyhow, relaxedmail, MALE.com/coaching offer 1. Fill out the form, and we'll be talking about that really quick. So guys, thank you again for listening. We'll talk to you again next week. So till then,